Okay, let's record. All right, so thank you for joining. I'm excited today, as usual. It's important we do these sessions because our goal here at WealthyGen is to empower people, right? Empower you so that you have the knowledge and at least to make some financial decisions, because it is one thing to have the money. It is one thing to do all of this. We are busy, we are working, we are struggling, but it's also important to have the knowledge to make informed financial decisions, because everything is just around making the right decisions. There are so many choices we have out there. So it's important that we are equipped with what we need at least to make decisions for ourselves. Holiday is upon us, right? I know last month we talked about budgeting. We already started shopping, but this month we crafted this topic really today to kind of help us to, as we dominate our shopping experiences this period, we also want to keep tabs and keep track, and so that we can shop and still be happy and understand how all of these spendings that happen, how they make us feel. And our goal is that we do all of these and still be happy and be able to track them so that we know exactly what our activities are, financial activities are, where we are spending our money on, and how that makes us feel, so that we are not taken by surprise. And there are a lot of things we will dive into, because sometimes people don't like to track their finances, right? We just want to spend, and we just don't want to know. And there are so many reasons why people just don't want to do it. Or just they don't find it in themselves to track and know where they're spending. So I'm excited about this topic today. And I'll go ahead and share my screen so we can get started. Okay, so our topic for today, as you may know already, is mastering holiday spending and tracking. And it's one of our Unleashing Your Wealth webinar series. And this is an ongoing monthly seminar for us. Our goal is that as we continue to do that, we'll be able to unleash that wealth within us, because every one of us, we have all it takes. It's in us. We can do it. We can achieve greatness. We can achieve financial well-being. It's in us. We just have to do our part to be able to unleash that which we already have within us. So it's every Saturday, as you may know, every first week of the month, every first Saturday of the month, same time, 11 a.m. for Eastern time for those in the US, and 4 p.m. or 5 p.m. African time, because US time changes during the spring and during the fall. So other than that, same time, same meeting ID and password. The only thing that changes is our topic every month. Okay, so I am Dr. Charity Azangwa Onako, and I'm happy to be your coach for today. So here are a few things we'll be covering. We'll cover mindful spending and financial well-being. Our goal is that after this session, you'll be able to not just spend, but be mindful of what you're spending. I will cover that. We're going to see a lot of research behind this mindful spending, and some things we just spend and how it affects us, we don't really know. But if we're able to understand what the research says about this, then we can, when we spend, yes, we'll spend our money, but we will kind of practice mindful spending, intentional spending kind of. And then we'll go over the Savvy Shopper's Guide to Smart Spending and Saving. A few tips and guides that we share with you to help us navigate this season and spend and still be happy and achieve that financial well-being, which is the goal. And then we'll go over strategies to avoid overspending the holiday budget, because last week we went over our planning, we created our budget. Today, we're going to go over the strategies that we can apply so that we do not overspend our holiday budget. And then we go on to the tracking challenge, right? So this is one thing people don't like to do. People don't like to track their finances. We're going to go over some tips to help us tackle this challenge. Okay. And please, at any point in time, if you have questions, put in the comments, or you can unmute yourself and ask your question. Okay. All right, we are picking off the first item for us, mindful spending. And I'm just going to ask, did you know that the way you spend money affects your financial well-being? Yeah, some people don't know this, some people already know, but yes, the way you spend money actually affects your financial well-being. Sometimes people don't know that that's what is affecting their mood or their financial well-being. So knowing exactly what you spend your money on during this holiday period and how that makes you feel, this is important. That's why I put it in bold. Knowing what you spend money on and how that makes you feel can help you make smarter choices, maximize your happiness, and boost your financial well-being. So there are 3 things here for us. So basically, 2 things for us to know. What do we spend our money on? How does that make us feel? If we know this, then we can be able to make smart choices. We are going to be able to maximize our happiness because this is a season of joy. We want to give gifts. We want to be happy. We want to maximize that by knowing exactly what we spend our money on and how that makes us feel. And then in the end, we'll be able to maximize our financial well-being. Now, I wanted to share with you results from Harvard research. Okay, this is an interesting kind of findings from the research. Okay, so the first one is that this group of researchers from Harvard surveyed people randomly about how they spend money on themselves. About spending money, there are 3 things. They surveyed them about spending money on themselves, spending money on others, and their happiness. So how does spending money on yourself or spending money on others and their happiness, how does that affect their happiness? So they did this, it's random people, right? And the outcome of that is amazing. And they found out that people who spent money buying personal items, that are just spending money on themselves, it did not, they responded that it did not boost their well-being. But those that spent money on others reported that it boosted their well-being. Okay, so that is one research. Spending money on yourself, in as much as it makes us feel okay, we are happy at the moment, but spending money on others actually boosts well-being more than spending money on yourself. So that's one thing up from this research. Then there was a research on people that received large sum of money, bonus payment from their organization. Okay, so some of those people spend the money to pay their bills, to pay their mortgage, buy equipment, spend things on their personal items. Some of them used the money, the bonus payment, to buy gifts for others. Some of them used that and donated that to charity. What did they find? When those people were surveyed, those people that spent money on themselves, buying personal items, paying their bills and all that, confirmed that it didn't really boost their happiness. But those people that bought gifts for others, gave the money to charity, reported that they felt good, that it made them feel happy, that it actually boosted their happiness. So that's the second research. Then the third research is that these researchers selected people randomly and gave some $20 bills, some of them $5 bills, and asked them that they have till 5 p.m. on that day to spend all the money. To spend the $5 by the end of the day by 5 p.m. or spend $20. It doesn't really matter how much you get. Whatever you have till 5 p.m. to spend it. And they were randomly selected. You just use it to buy anything you like. You can give your money to charity. You can use it to buy a gift for someone else, randomly. Now, at the end of the day, they were interviewed, they were surveyed, they had to answer some questions. Now, what interestingly, how much they have, whether they got $5 or $20, didn't really make any difference. It didn't make any changes in their financial well-being. It didn't really matter. But what mattered really was how they spend the money. That's one finding. Really, that having money, how much money they had, didn't really matter. What matters was how they spent that money they had. Then people who bought, again, gifts for others, or gave that money to charity, had a boost in well-being. Others did not. Others that spent that money on themselves, nothing really changed. They just bought something, that's it, nothing else. But those that actually gave it to people, spent that money and gave it to charity, or spent it on someone else, confirmed that they actually felt good. It boosted their well-being, boosted their happiness. So these three research outcomes kind of point to one thing for us: mindful spending. How do you spend your money? How does that actually make you feel? And based on research, it's okay for us to spend money on ourselves, but people that spend money on others or give the money to charity, actually it boosted their well-being. It actually boosted their happiness. And how much they had to spend didn't really matter. I'm going to pause here for a moment and see if anybody has any comments or question at this point based on this research.
Yeah, it's quite very interesting. I like the third research, giving people money to spend, but those who gifted it or donated it, I can foresee that. And I was putting myself in those shoes. When you have like $5, $20, and then you give it to church, you feel that that you've blessed something or you've done something huge. But if you take the same money and then go to the Walmart and buy yourself food, it's not satisfactory. So I do like that one. That's really good. Thanks for sharing. You said these research were conducted by Harvard, right?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yes, it's interesting. I read it. I'm like, okay, good. Wow. Little things we don't really know. We just spend money here and there, without really being mindful. It's not that it's not okay to spend money on ourselves. It is. It's just that what is that added thing that we can do mindfully when we spend money? How does that really make us feel in general, right? And we can just be a little mindful. And I have a few lessons and tips for us here. Some kind of takeaway from this research is really for us to make conscious and intentional purchase decisions, right? But the lesson for us is to know what boosts our well-being, and then we spend money that way. We can spend money on ourselves, but here and there, we can go out there and make ourselves and boost our well-being by helping other people, spending money on other people, buying gifts for them, donating money to charity and things like that. Okay. And one other thing, because this is holiday season, there's a lot of things, shopping, spending here and there. It's one of the things that come with the holiday. The tip for us here is to avoid that impulsive buys. Okay, let me just buy this. Because our topic is really mindful spending. If we are being mindful, we kind of think, why am I even buying this? How does that make me feel? Am I just buying it to be just in the moment, to just catch this moment, because I see this, I like it, I'm just gonna buy it, right? And then some people go back home and they were like, why did I even buy this in the first place, right? We have that buyer remorse kick in once we leave that scene. But if you are practicing mindful spending, we check back and say, why am I even buying this? How does that make me feel? Right? And this is one of the strategies we can use to stick to a holiday budget so that we are not just overspending, buying because we saw something that we like. Okay. And then the other takeaway for us is to spend on experiences and memories. Right? Experiences last and create fun memories. Okay, so sometimes you just go out there and buy something, right? And just come back home. That's it. But when you spend money and buy experiences, go out with friends, right? Go to movies, concert, just an activity, an experience. What happens is, instead of that instant gratification, right? We are looking forward to that experience. We are looking forward to that memory. Or even after the experience passed, we create a memory for us that we can be fond of, that we can go back and recall, and it just kind of boosts our well-being and happiness. So in addition to spending on others and giving to charity, we can also spend on experiences and memories, because experiences last and create fun memories. Material things can just fade away and we can easily get us bored. Yes, Bimbo, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. I just wanted to add my experience yesterday. Now talking about intentionality. I know the focus of today's session is on, the festive period and all of that. But, generally speaking, financial fitness and all of that, we have to be very intentional. The gentleman, I took an Uber yesterday and it was Tesla. And so we got talking and I'm like, oh, the interior of your car is fine. This is the second time, and the guy said, look, it took me 8 years to work towards buying this car as brand new. And the distance he was taking me was just $10 plus, So, but within 6 minutes, of him dropping me off, I had a very beautiful conversation with him. And I saw someone who knew what he was doing. He said his previous cars had been, used, but that he was purposeful and intentional about getting that Tesla. So he spent 8 years saving towards it. And he was so happy to say that his experience has been beautiful. He said before he had a child, he didn't care about, what's it called now, the environment, the carbon emissions and all of that. But that now he's a father, he's more careful. So just to add to the conversation, yes, Christmas, is coming, the new year, we need to be intentional, but generally speaking, in everything. And I like that you say value. Anything we're spending money on must give us value at the end of the day. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you so much. In fact, our last session, I shared about this man that made a comment that I really liked. He's he's a businessman, someone you will consider very rich around here in the US, has a lot of businesses, properties everywhere, both here in the US and Africa. He's someone you will consider very wealthy. He made a statement one day. He had several shopping malls that he owns, several, not one, two. And he recently purchased another big one. So we're having a conversation. He said that there's something people don't know about him. When they see him spending money, they think he has money dumped somewhere. That whatever he spends money on, he saves it for years. That if he wants to buy property next 2 years, he starts to save every month. Now he saves, he said, whatever you've seen me buy, I saved for it. And I'm like, that is good to know. Because people look at rich men, when you talk about savings and planning, they think it's just for people that don't have money, right? But if you actually listen to those wealthy or rich people per se, and listen to what they have to say, the strategies and their habits, you'll find out that we are the people getting it all wrong. When I say we believe that, oh, this is just for people that are not rich, while we are not there yet. But if you look at people that have achieved it and listen to them, there's a lot of good wisdom or lessons that we can learn from them. He said everything he's purchased, every asset he has today, he saved for. That before he doesn't just go pluck money somewhere and get money somewhere, that he saves every month. If I need 2 years to buy this, how much am I going to be saving every month? He calculates it like that, and then he saves and saves and saves. Come next 2 years, he has the money. He makes his investment, and people are like, where does he get all this money from? So that's interesting. It's being intentional.
Yeah.
And even though this is holiday spending, this is a lesson that we can apply. It's practical every day of our lives, whether it's holiday season or not. Practicing mindful spending and tracking our expenses and just being mindful of everything that we do in terms of our spending is a skill that we can apply to our finances at any point in time. It just happens that holiday we spend a lot more, right? But this is very valuable any time of the day. So thank you so much for sharing that. Okay, thank you so much for sharing that. Please put yourself on mute. When you want to speak, you can unmute yourself, okay? All right, so our next tip for today is to monitor your mood. Monitor your mood. Now, this is one thing that affects people's spending. This is one thing that can affect people's spending. People don't know. A bad mood could lead to poor financial decisions. People spend. Sometimes they are not happy. Something just triggered their mood. They just go out shopping. Okay. So our tip for today is to monitor our mood. A bad mood could lead to poor financial decisions. We spend the most when we feel the worst. And study has shown that. I'm sorry I didn't put that research here, but there's a study that says that when people are in a bad mood, they just go out there to spend. They go out there to shop, thinking that shopping will kind of fix their mood or something. I will go over that in a little bit. And also, one day I went to the shop. I was just coming from work and I spent a longer hour than usual. And I needed to buy something. I was hungry. I needed to buy a few things. I think it was just milk or bread that I needed to buy. I went into the store and my cart was full. And I was like, how did I even get myself to buy all this thing? The cashier was laughing. And then she asked me, are you hungry? I said, yeah, I should know better. And we both started laughing, right? Because when you go to shopping hungry, you see these, because your tummy is hungry, you just want to eat. You are putting it into your cart, So that is one thing we have to monitor. Sometimes when you're hungry and you go shopping, you keep whatever you see you want to buy and put in your cart. And when you have a bad mood, and people just go spend it. So our tip for today is for us to practice that mindful spending. We have to monitor our mood. And then, because keep in mind that, yes, at that moment when you have that mood, you can make poor financial decisions. So that's a tip for us. Any questions or comments?
I'm laughing right here. Yeah. You see, there are times, more especially when you're hungry, and then you go to the Walmart or you go to Target, and then you see every food you see on the
you want to buy it.
Yeah, you want to buy it and you just put it in the cart. But yeah, this is really good. Thank you for sharing.
Yes, thank you. I'm glad you find it useful. All right, so our next lesson for today, objective for today, is the Savvy Shopper's Guide. Okay, so although this is holiday season, but this is a guide that can help you every day as you go shopping, right? As you plan to buy anything, not just for the holiday, right? It's good and applicable for the holidays, but it's a lesson that you can take with you any time of the year. All right, so here is one thing that I want to give, one of the tips to help us as we shop during this holiday. Timing for the best deals and discounts. Timing is key, right? Master the art of timing. Sometimes discounts usually just come unannounced. They just kind of creep up on you, or some of them are time bound. Our goal is, for this lesson objective, is that we are shopping. We are not just going to shop and spend money because we have the money. If you can get something for $10, why pay $20 for it? Okay, that is still part of being intentional. So we are gonna, when we spend money, we have to kind of master that art of timing. Okay, there are discounts most times in everything that we shop on, every store that we shop on. But the thing is, are we taking advantage of these discounts? Some people just believe because they have money, they just go out there and spend. Yes, if you have $100 that you're willing to spend, if you can spend $70 and save that $30 for you to invest it or save it, it's still for your own good. In as much as you have $100, I'm willing to part with this $100. If you can save $30 through discounts, that's a good thing for you. So master the art of timing. Discounts come unannounced and they are usually time bound. So take advantage of that timing and save some money for yourself. Plan your holiday spending in advance so you know what you want to buy and look out for the discounts. Yeah. So one of the ways for you to actually take advantage of discounts is for every month, plan your spending ahead of time. You won't really know what you want to buy, so that when discount comes, you may not really know if you need it. But if you set your budget, like last month, we talked about planning and budgeting. If you've created your holiday budget, you already know what you're going to spend your money on, so that you look out for those discounts, look out for those time coupons and all of that, right? Because coupons are not for the poor only. The rich people take advantage of discounts. They take advantage of coupons. Nobody makes money by just losing their money, right? Even if you have money, whatever you can save for yourself, the better. You can save it even if you don't use it. You can, invest it little by little, $20 there, $50 there, $100 there, they add up. So every month, my tip for you is for you to plan your spending ahead of time. This is December 2nd, right? I believe that if you've not already created your budget for December, this is a good time for you to plan. This is how much I'm going to spend for this month. So that when you are being intentional, you're not just spending because everybody's spending, right? Last minute splurges usually cost more. If you wait until last minute, it is definitely going to cost you more. One, it may cost you more. Two, you may not see the item you're looking for. If you're planning to buy a gift for someone and you're waiting until maybe December 20th, trust me, there are no new items coming in. Whatever you're seeing is what people, leftovers, I would like to call them. You are rushing to buy this. There's no time for you to shop around. If this merchant is selling it for $50, another person could have been selling it for $40, but there's no time for you to look around. You don't even know that if you go there, you're going to see it. So you're like, let me just grab what I have seen, right? So last minute splurges usually cost more. Avoid as much as you can. So my goal for you today is that you take advantage of the timing you have now. We have about how many more days? 20 more days approximately, right? About 22 more shopping days or 21 shopping days left. Take advantage of it right now. Don't wait until last minute. It's going to cost you more and you may not see exactly what you want to buy, okay? Then activate discounts. Discount alerts. Some people there are some companies that if you shop often, frequently at one store or a merchant or a mall, some of them have discounts. They have apps, right? So you can activate those discount alerts for the places that you shop frequently. So you can stay informed about those savings opportunities. It is not for the poor only. Rich people still do this, right? If you want, especially if you are one of those that shop online, you can activate those alerts so that when they come in, you are saving money on the things or the items that you would spend money on regardless. So why spend more if you can save some money on it? Okay. So this is just some tips for us to save money, timing for discounts and deals. Questions or comment from anyone here before we move on to the next one? Okay. Now, here is one thing, another tip I like to share. Buy bulk and save more. Why buy one bottle when you can buy a case? So right here, I'm going to give you an example. A case of water, a regular case of water can cost $3, and there are about 24 in it. But if you go out there to buy one bottle of water, it's $1 plus. And some people, maybe you're on the go, you go to work, every day you go into the store and just buy one bottle of water. By the time you buy 24, you've spent $24. But you can just get into a wholesale store or any grocery store and buy a case, 24 for about $3 something. So buy bulk and save more. Why buy one bottle if you can buy a case? That's just an example. There's a lot of examples out there for buying bulk and saving more. Take advantage of that, okay? Then form bulk buddies. Sometimes when you go to these wholesale stores, maybe they sell in bags or sell in big cases. You really don't want that much. You can form bulk buddies. You can form a group of 2 or 3 and buy in bulk, and then you can split it. You are not just splitting the cost, you're also splitting the benefits, right? You can team up with your friends, your family friends and all that and buy in bulk. Go to wholesale stores and buy in bulk. You're going to be saving a lot of money, okay? Your pocket will win, will win that for you, but all of you together will win that by buying in bulk. So that's another tip for us to consider at this period and ongoing, not just for holiday season, but ongoing, okay? Then another tip for us is big brand ideas, local store prices. Now, some of you may know this and some of you may not already know that. If you love expensive designer clothing or big brand items, it can be clothing, it can be furniture, whatever it is, trust me, there are local store designers, local store dealers that can give you the same thing at lower cost prices. At lower cost. Now, if you love these expensive designer clothing, I'm going to say this for the ladies or even for the men, right? I saw this beautiful designer outfit. It cost me maybe $800, $1,000. It's beautiful. It's nice. There are some local tailors that can give you that exact design at less than half of the price. You can try them. You can get ideas from these big brands, then get your local, but trust the craftsman to design the same thing. Same thing like furniture, right? I have this beautiful living room set. I really love it. It is, you know, crafted by these big brands. You can get a picture of it, you know, have your local craftsman design, or you can get to a local store. Sometimes all these big brands, because they have big showroom, they have big overhead, everything is put into the price. If you go to a regular local store, or even online stores that don't have this big overhead, you can buy the same designer item at a lower cost because they do not have this big overhead. It's all about being intentional. I like this. I love big brands. I love beautiful things. Yes, you can achieve the same concept by trying your local stores or local designers. It's just an alternative, but you get the same feel. You can use lesser known local stores for unique finds, absolutely. And then you get the same big brand look, but your wallet will win every time. Questions, comments on this one? All right.
I think just
okay, go ahead.
Yeah, just to add on that, there are also some outlets, shops, where you can buy all those big brands at maybe 60% down. There's a day that I went to one of the outlet malls, and then when I went there and checked the Gucci's, Capaggia, whatever you call them, I was so amazed to see the prices were down like 60% down. So yeah, thanks for sharing that as well.
Yes. And there's one thing people don't know. There are stores, all these outlet stores, it is the same designer clothing. I don't know what I'm going to use as an example. So this is WealthyGen shirt. It might be one of those things that maybe this W here, maybe this one is a little wider than usual. A little, something very small that you as the buyer can't even see. But for those big brands, their QA experts, quality assurance experts, just find something tiny. As long as it's not exactly 100% how it should be, depending on what their QA percentage rate is, they put it aside. It's a defect for them. You as a regular buyer might not even see it. So if it doesn't meet that QA screening or testing, they put it aside. All of these outlet stores get them. Something that would cost you, let's say, I'm just going to use $500 as an example, depending on what currency you use. You might get it for less than $100. You'll be wondering, why am I getting this cheap? It's just because they're getting rid of it, because it did not meet their quality assurance test. So yes, there are so many great deals you can get like that we as regular consumers may not even notice. It's just that their QA team finds a little slightly something that didn't meet their QA quality assurance test. So yeah, we can take advantage of those. Thanks for sharing. All right, so we're moving on to tips to avoid overspending the holiday budget. Yes, we've created the budget. Some of you may have, some of you may not. But if you've not, please create your holiday budget. It's a way for you to become intentional. Not just holiday budget every month. Beginning of the month, create your budget and how you're going to spend your money for the month. Now, here are some tips to avoid overspending that budget. It is one thing to create a budget. It is another thing to stick to it, okay? Now, here's one of the things one of the reasons. We are going to go over those challenges, and then we're going to show you the tips to overcome them, right? So these are the challenges why people really don't stick to their budget. One of them is social pressure, right? We all know social pressure, right? We want to keep up with the Joneses. I see my friends bought this, I want to buy it. My friend has this dress, beautiful dress. My friend wears this designer clothing. My friend has this car. My friends have this beautiful house. I want to buy the same thing. Keeping up with the Joneses. Rather than compete, our strategy should be to focus on what is important to you. That's still being intentional, taking us back to intentionality, right? Being mindful. Set financial goals for yourself. Your financial goals will be that thing that you are pursuing. Now, if you don't have any goal you are pursuing, go create a goal for yourself. Set a goal for yourself, because your financial goal gets you focused. If you want to achieve this and people are buying all those things, okay, this beautiful house, this beautiful car, this beautiful dressing, you go back to yourself and say, I need to do this by January. I need to achieve this by March. It kind of refocuses you. Okay, so your takeaway for today is to have a goal. What is important to you? What do you want to achieve? How are you moving forward, progressing towards your goal? Rather than compete with people, or rather than keep up with Joneses, I would say, focus on that thing that is important to you. That is what's going to keep you on track. Social pressure. How do you fight that? Create a financial goal for yourself and focus on it. Now, emotional impulse spending. We talked about this, right? About how we just, practice impulse buy. I'm in the shop. I saw this beautiful thing. I want to buy it. I'm hungry. I go to the store. I want to buy every food item I see in the store. Spending to get distracted from emotional pain or sadness. People don't know this, but a lot of people spend because they are unhappy, right? I'm not in a good mood. I'm just going to go out shopping. Now, understand those triggers, whatever that triggers you to go spending, right? Understand those triggers and adopt other healthier coping mechanisms that don't involve spending money. Sometimes we think that we are spending money to get away from this emotional pain. It doesn't necessarily solve it because, oh, I'm spending, you come back. You are okay for that moment, but you come back, you are not only not going to get distracted from that. After that moment had passed, you are stuck with items that you don't really need. You shopped because you are not happy. And then you spent your money on top of it. So if you understand those triggers, you address those triggers rather than just, there are other ways for you. You can seek a professional advice. You can, do other things to address that emotion rather than spending money. Okay, question or comment? Now, there's this misconceptions about credit. That's one of the reasons people overspend as well. People have credit cards. They see that as extra money. Oh, I have credit cards. My limit is 20,000. I think I have 20,000. No, I don't have 20,000. That's someone else's money. It is important for us to know that credit is not free money. Use credit only for the things that you have money for, something you can always buy. Because one, you are going to pay back that money in full. And if you don't pay back in full, you are going to pay interest. So don't see it as free money. Keep in mind that this is money you have to pay back. So if you don't have money, I'm looking to buy something for $1,000. Okay, let me just say $500. I have to go check my checking account or my savings account. Do I have this $500 to spend? If I have $500 to spend, then you can buy. You can use your credit card to buy it because some credit cards have rewards and coupons and discounts and all of that. You will use your credit card to buy it so you can take advantage of those coupons and discounts. Then you go right ahead and pay that. When you do that, you're saving yourself those discounts. But make sure you have that money all ready to spend before you charge it on your credit card. It is not free money. You are going to pay back in full plus interest if you do not pay back in full at that moment. And then if it's difficult for you to understand that credit is really not free money, use cash or debit cards instead. Because when you use cash, you know that this is my money. If you look and you don't have money in your bank account, then you know you don't have money. Then you can wait until you have money. But if you must use your credit card, make sure that you have that money to pay back. But if you begin to see credit card as free money, oh, I have free money to spend. No, that is when people just keep spending and spending without knowing that, accumulating a lot of debt without knowing that they have to pay this back. Any comments on this or question? All right. Now, here's another thing, inflation and contingencies. When people budget, people tend to forget about inflation, right? Or contingencies, because we are human. You might think you've covered everything, and then you are budgeting, you forget some things. When you don't account for everything, if it's something you have to spend money on, you have to spend money on that. And once you go back and look at your budget, you've overspent. So when you budget, it's always a good practice to build in some kind of money for contingency, just in case if there's something you're forgetting. And now inflation. Now, keep in mind that if your total budget for, let's say, October this year, you spent, let's just say $5,000, or maybe in Nigeria, you spent 80,000 naira, 100,000 naira, depending on where you are. Don't expect to budget for that same amount next year, because prices of things change. It might change within months. You might buy something this amount this month. Next month, you may not be able to buy that same thing at that price. So it's always good to build in inflation. I mean, month to month, you might still think everything is okay, but as you go for 3 months, 4 months, build in, if you spend $100 on something, it's okay to budget for 110, just in case if you go out there and prices change. So that's being intentional, right? Building a little contingency to cover the unknowns. And if you don't know if prices are going to change, put it under your contingency. If your budget is 100,000, you might say, okay, you know what, let me just add 5,000 or just maybe 10,000, just in case if I miss anything or prices change and all of that. And if you're in the US, Canada, anywhere, if your budget for the month is 5,000, it's okay to throw in another $200 and $200 or maybe $100, just in case if you are forgetting anything. It's a good practice. All right, any questions, comments? All right, so here is the thing, the tracking challenge. A lot of us don't like to track. Now, do you know that your income and expenses is the basis for everything finance for you? It's the basis for you either achieving greatness or maybe breaking it for you, but your income and expense is really the basis from which everything starts. Your income is your money coming in. It is from your income that you spend. That's your expenses. It is from your income that you save. It is from your income that you invest. Without income, you really cannot do anything. Now let's go back to, it's from this your income that you consume. Okay? And your consumption, of course, if you consume everything, you have nothing to save. If you consume everything, you have nothing to invest. So your income is really the key for everything. Now I'm going to go back to expenses. You might have income, a lot of income. Yes, my income is this. But if you end up spending all your income, you have nothing to save. You have nothing to invest. And then how you spend your money actually determines your financial well-being. So you end up seeing that your income and expense is the key. Now, a lot of people don't like to track this. There's a lot of reasons why people don't track this. Maybe, for some reason known to them. But we are going to tackle that today. My goal is that after this session, you'll be able to, whether you use paper and pen, use Excel spreadsheet, you use app, whatever you use, it is important for you to know how your income, to understand your income and expenses. So that at any point in time, I will say, I make this monthly and I spend this. How do you spend it? I spend this portion on my needs, on my fixed expenses. I spend this portion. I'm budgeting this for my personal, whatever I want to buy. Because yes, we have to be happy. We worked for it. We have to really pay ourselves first. I'm budgeting this for my savings every month. I am investing this amount out of my income every month. It is your money, you worked for it. So you're going to make that money work for you. Okay. Now, let's look at those challenges. What are the reasons people don't really track their expenses? Because there's really reason for everything, right? One of them is irregularity in pattern. Some people, their income really is not regular. They have small business, they have wages, and sometimes the income from their wages is not regular. They paid maybe per hour. They work these hours today, these hours tomorrow, and they make tips. They get different kinds of income. They have businesses, they have side hustle, they do all of these kind of things. They have different sources of income. Some have income from investments, dividends, tips, capital gains, they buy and sell things. So for the people that their income is irregular, and sometimes expenses as well. Some people spend money on a lot of things that sometimes it can be overwhelming for them to track. They just give up. So that's irregularity in pattern. But someone that, okay, I'm a salaried person. Every month I get paid maybe 10,000, 50,000, as the case may be. This is how much you make every month. It's going to be easy for you to say, you know what, I'm making 50,000 or 10,000 or 5,000 every month. How am I going to spend it? It's easy. It might be easy for those people. But for people that can't even tell how much they make per month, it might be difficult for them to budget. Yes, Bimbo, go ahead.
Thank you, Dr. Charity. And to give you a few seconds to catch your breath. Sorry, I have to take you back a little bit. I think the conversation before this one, talking about discounts, I like the analogy when you give the example of the wealthy gentleman who was very intentional and careful with what he does. Just because your audience is spread across North America and Nigeria, I want to talk about my experience in Nigeria. Not many people know that they should ask for discounts in shops that have price tags. But back in Nigeria, you can, at checkout, you can ask for discounts. And then the loyalty programs for shops, it does work and it exists, but not many people take advantage of that. And you see, the people who are taking advantage of that are people who are even comfortable, who are knowledgeable. So the people who are struggling, they don't even know they should do that. There's a shop around my house, it's called Trimax. They have a very beautiful loyalty scheme. And every time I send any of my staff or people who live with me, everybody knows that they must log whatever we buy to the loyalty account. And because of that, we are attracted to that store. But we are also very mindful of the prices, the price differences with other shops. And their prices are very reasonable. Come talk about the pharmacies. As you get older, you begin to visit the pharmacies more and more, You need your vitamins and other supplements and other stuff. I think it's called MedPlus. It's 24 hours. Now, if you have a Nigerian MasterCard, either with First Bank, I'm not sure now if the MasterCard extends to other banks, but I do have a First Bank MasterCard. And every time I pay in MedPlus, it's 5% off. People don't know. You see them queuing up, they pay, they go. And, Dr. Charity, as coaches, we know that every dollar counts.
Absolutely.
If it's going to pay just for, your data service or whatever. So people back home, people not living abroad need to understand that it also works for us. Ebano, I don't know, but I think Ebano is now they're a well-known store, but they've increased the minimum. I think you have now to buy up to 50,000, is it 100 before you can get a discount or whatever. But it's good to always ask. Several years ago, about over 10 years ago, there's a very big supermarket called I think it's Payless on Victoria Island. I didn't know you could negotiate. We went for furniture. We could negotiate and we're getting really good discounts off. So people need to understand that, especially those of us who live in Nigeria. That's what I wanted to share.
Thank you so much. That's really good. And even in US, because something.
Yeah, I wanted to add that.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah,
go ahead, please.
Yeah, I just wanted to add on what Bimbo said. That even in US, we have to take advantage of those, subscription like BJ's, Costa Call. I realized one of the years when I was buying stuff at the BJ's, I have to pay membership fee of $25, right? Because I get the discount from my job as well. But then that $25 gives me a discount on a gas pump. So I'm paying lesser than what everybody's paying out there, right? That's number one. And number two, I'm buying commodities at a cheaper, price. Because when I go to the shop, show my membership, then I'm able to buy everything there. And it's cheaper. So by the end of the year, I'm saving a lot more money than just going to Walmart and buy stuff at the normal prices. So I just wanted to add on what Bimbo said. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you. Yes. And that's the essence of this conversation, right? People learn things, things you don't really know. Now you mentioned Costco, Dr. Washington. I used to have Costco, the regular membership. And then one day I'm like, why do I have to pay you guys to shop in Costco? I was saying it with a group of friends because we went there shopping. And then before you go in, have to show your card. And then one of my friends was asking, you have to show your card. The person came from Nigeria, just so you know. You have to show your card to shop. I say yes, because you have to be a member to shop. And then jokingly, I asked the guy, why do I even have to pay you guys membership for me to shop in your store? We laughed and we passed. Then I turned around to my friend and I said, yes, it might sound like ridiculous, but you end up saving because you're buying in bulk. And at the end of the year, you must have saved a lot more than the $50. Costco membership, regular membership was $50. But there's something interesting about Costco. They have another category of membership where you pay 100, I think 100 or 120. But that is good for people that shop very often, people that shop frequently. I have a large family, so I always buy a lot of things, and not just groceries, but a whole bunch of things there. And if you look at how much you spend at the end of the year, it's worth it. What Costco does is, at the end of the year, they calculate your total spending and give you back 2% of it. So I find it very convenient because the executive membership cost, I think it's $120. But every year, I've always gotten nothing less than $150 back. So when it's time for you to renew your membership, they are sending you membership renewal reminder, and they are calculating everything you spent in that store, and they give you a check, 2% of it. So I'm getting my renewal reminder, I'm getting a check. So what I do is I take that check and when I go to renew my membership, that check pays for my membership, and I still have some change that I would apply to my purchases. So it's a win-win. You are shopping there, and then you're getting paid to shop there. You are paying to shop there, you're shopping there, and then you're getting paid to shop there. So it's a way for you to kind of save, because those things you still have to buy. If you buy it at Costco, if you buy it at BJ's, if you buy it at Walmart, if you buy it anywhere that doesn't give you those rewards, you're still gonna spend. So why not take advantage of a place where you have those rewards and you save yourself some money? So absolutely, thank you all for sharing those nuggets. Those are really great tips that we all can take advantage of. All right, so we are talking about the challenges why people really don't track their spending, and we've talked about irregularity in pattern, both income and expenses. Our next challenge is complexity of financial data. Now, we live in a world where there's a lot of things, right? We have a lot of financial products. There are credit cards. Some people have multiple credit cards, right? We have financial information. We have investments. We have stocks. We have all of these financial information. Some people have multiple bank accounts. You have savings accounts here. You have checking account here. We have a whole lot of financial data out there. So these complexities can make it overwhelming for people to sit down and track them. They'll be like, oh, whatever it is. I know someone that has a whole bunch of stocks, shares of different companies. But if you touch him now and say, what is your total portfolio? They don't know, because they have it all over the place. But if you're able to track it and put it all in one place, it doesn't matter where they are. At any point in time, you'll be able to know where your money is going. You can sit back and say, oh, I'm doing good for myself, right? Because you have all your data in one place. So that's one of the challenges people have. And when we move over onto the next slide, we'll talk about how we can overcome these challenges. Yes, I think someone raised up their hands. You still want to speak? I can give you audience now.
Yes, sorry, I seem to take it back a bit. You talked about those with regular income. You were about talking about those without regular income when somebody made a comment. So I was like,
okay, yes, yes, and we will talk about how we can address those in the next slide. But one of the challenges we mentioned is that some people have irregularity in income. Some people might have maybe they work regular salaried, right? They have regular wages. They have some jobs that they get paid a different kind of, maybe an hourly rate that might be different at the end of the month. They might have some side hustle where they maybe babysit or loan more loans, or do any other different kind of jobs to get income. Some of them have royalty income. Maybe they have books, they've written books, they have apps, or they have other things where money just come in. Some people have blogs where people visit online and they get paid. Some people have YouTube channel, a whole bunch of things. People have different sources of income, from dividends, from interest, that they might not really say, this is how much I'm making every month. So that can be a challenge for someone. How am I even going to start tracking? Or how am I even going to start budgeting? How am I going to do that? Because I don't even know how much I'm expecting. It can be overwhelming for some people. So yes, in the next slide, we will dive into how we can overcome all of these challenges. We are just recognizing these as challenges, why people really don't bother tracking their income and expenses. So yes, we are going to address those challenges in the next slide, okay? All right, so here is one thing that a lot of us are guilty of: fear of the truth. Some people just don't want to know because they are scared of what they're going to find out. I've seen people that don't check their credit. If you live in a country where credit is everything, that your credit can change every month. I know people that don't even bother to check what their credit score is. Then just tell you, I know it's not good. Why do I even want to check? But that is where the problem is, not checking, because you're scared of the truth. The bottom line is, it is there, it is there. It is our financial information. It is our right to know. And you cannot take action if you don't know what is in there. So people don't track it because, oh my God, I made $10,000 this month. I don't have anything in my savings. They don't want to track it. They don't want to say, okay, this is where my money went, because they are scared of what they're going to discover. That is a challenge. And we're going to address that in a bit. Question, comments? Procrastination. This is one big challenge. We are going to do it next month. Oh, I'm going to start tracking it next month. Or sometimes people start this month, next month, they don't keep up. Oh, I'm going to start tracking that next month. Or I'm going to start budgeting next month. You procrastinate. And the truth is that sometimes that date never comes. Next month never comes. Oh, this month I'm going to start in December. December comes, you know what, let's start in January. January is a new year. January, you know what, how about February? If we are going to be intentional about our money, right? If we are going to take it to the next level, this is our finances, this is our thing. We worked hard for this money. And like I started from when we moved on to this tracking, our income and expenses is really the basis for everything. If we get those two things right, we are on the track to making it happen for us. If you get your income and expenses right, you can now sit back and say, now, the reason why people really don't save consistently or don't invest consistently is because they are not setting realistic goals for themselves, or they are not starting off where they can continuously or consistently save or invest. If I say, you know what, I'm going to save 1,000 this month, and I'm going to invest it. Every month, I'm going to invest 1,000. This month, you happen to have 1,000, you put it. Next month, you may not have that 1,000. And once you stop, it's like, I don't know what I'm going to say, but once you stop, it takes a while to get that motivation to pick up again. Because you've not sat down to analyze your finances. You've not tracked your income and expenses to see what you can comfortably do. And because your expenses, your needs, your most important basic expenses or fixed expenses are this amount. If you dip into it, you're not going to survive the next month. But if I know that I make 5,000, out of this 5,000, I must spend 4,000 every month. I have to pay my mortgage or rent. I have to buy food. I have to pay these utility bills. All of these must do expenses. If I calculate all of them, it's going to be 4,000. And out of the 1,000 left for me, that's where I have to buy groceries. Groceries is, it's fungible. You can it's variable, basically. You can adjust. Instead of spending 300, you can say, what, let me just spend only 250 this month. You can adjust your variable expenses. eating out, gas, all of those things are variable. You have a little control on how much. If you have only 1,000 to play around, you can say, you know what, out of this 1,000, I'm going to take 200 out of it and put away, and then keep 800 for my variable expenses. You can only do this if you've done this analysis. If you've tracked your expenses and known this is basically how much I must spend every month. Now, if you continue to save 200, now you can comfortably save 200 every month because you've done the math. But if you continue to procrastinate, you won't know. And you all of a sudden you say, I'm going to invest 500. You take 500 and then you struggle. And the moment you struggle, it's going to be a discouragement for you. You won't continue. So procrastination, if you've not started tracking or budgeting, this is the time for you to start now. We recognize these as challenges. Yes, they are challenges, but we can handle them. How do we handle them? How do we tackle this challenge? The first one is to keep it simple. Okay, so now we have a whole bunch of things. If you complicate your own tracking, you will never get it right. It's going to be a discouragement for you. Keep it simple. Whether you're using a budget book, a planner, or a journal, whether you're using Excel spreadsheets, whether you're using an app, it's important that you keep it simple. Whatever tool you're using, make sure it's as simple as anything, so that when you start budgeting, it's not going to be a job. It's going to be a very easy thing for you to do. Keep it simple. Now, set goals for motivation. Now, a lot of people don't track because there's nothing motivating them. We talked about, then I'm going to go back to keeping it simple, right? And for people that have multiple sources of income or irregular source of income, this is where keeping it simple comes to play. And the tip for you here is don't complicate it. If you have to, let's say you have a side hustle, like multiple side hustles. Maybe you babysit, you have small business, maybe you have another job, maybe you have where you maybe work at a restaurant, or maybe you mow lawns for people. If you have all of these multiple, ballpark, call them side hustle. It doesn't matter what it is. Don't even start listing all of them. Ballpark. On the average, you can make it an average. If last month you made $1,000, and last 2 months you made 800, and last month you made 500, you can just average it and say 800 on the average. Keep it simple for yourself so that it does not overwhelm you. Then if you keep it simple, call it one name. Find a category that summarizes all of them, rather than listing babysitting, wedding table, lawn mowing, and all of that. Rather than listing all of those bunch of things, you can find a category and just call it side hustle and add all of them, find an average, and you keep it there. When you track all of them, it becomes easy for you to say, okay, so on the average, this is how much I'm making whole. Okay, so find a ballpark category that summarizes all of them. Then set goals for yourself. If I set a goal for myself and say, I'm going to make $10,000 this month, how will you know if you made it? If you have multiple sources of income, how will you know if you've achieved your $10,000 goal? That would be your motivation. Let me track it and actually see if I made it. Your goal will be your motivation. You might set a goal for yourself and say, I'm going to cut my expenses down to 3,800 this month. Example, I'm going to cut my expenses from 80,000 naira to 50,000 naira for those in Nigeria. How would you know if you've reached that? Without a goal, you won't even care. You will just keep spending. But if you set this goal for yourself, then it will be a motivation for you to know, well, let me track it and see how close I am to my goal. Your goal will always be your motivation. If I say I want to save this amount in the next 3 months, how would you know if you don't track your savings? But if you continue to save and you track it, every month you see your progress. It will tell you this is your goal, how much is remaining. You continue to monitor your progress. Your goal will always be your motivation. Now, here's the next strategy. Check in regularly and consistently. if you just say, okay, I'm tracking my expenses, I'm tracking my income, I'm tracking all of these, my finances, and you just do one today and leave it, you won't know how far you're going. But if I check in, if I go back every how do I put it this? Now, we all have phones, okay? And for most of us, I know that in a day, a lot of us check in on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all of these social media, Twitter, LinkedIn, whatever it is that we use most often, I know that we check in multiple times in those apps. If we can do that for social media, it is good, okay? Don't get me wrong. We do that for fun. We learn new things. We see people and all that. Those are good. If we can allocate just 30 minutes of that, less than 30 minutes, not even up, what am I saying, 10 minutes, 5 minutes of that time a day for our finances, we are going to transform ourselves and our finances. If you go out every day and you spend money or you made income, you lie down on the bed at the end of the day as one of those, I say it's intentional. If you form that habit that when you lie down on the bed before you go to bed, I go to Facebook and see what's going on, you can use that moment, 5 minutes at most, right? Or 10 minutes at most, and just track, what did I do today? I spent this on gas. I spent this buying groceries. That's it. I made this amount today. Boom, 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 you are done. And that's it for the day. It does not even take a lot. But a lot of us would rather go on social media, which is good. It is social media is for social, but we can allocate just a fraction of the time we'll allocate the social media to our finances. That drives everything. That takes, our finances, basically everything. If we allocate just a fraction of the time to track our expenses and do that regularly, every day. Sometimes we don't even spend money every day. The day you don't spend money, that's it. You don't have to do anything, but you can just look, right? But even if you don't have anything, I checked yesterday, nothing changed, that's fine. But on the days that you have this transaction, go in consistently. It's not going to cost you, take you more than 10 minutes, sometimes less than 5 minutes to just log in what you did for the day. Okay, so that's one strategy. Check in regularly and consistently. Treat it as though you treat your social media. And the more once you start doing it, it becomes part of you. It becomes like a habit. Okay, and that's where we want to get us to. We want to do it as though it is habit. Then the next strategy is really to leverage technology. I know I talked about this last time when we talked about budget, but technology kind of makes things easy. Technology is taking everything to the next level. Technology makes our life easy. One of the things that I'm going to share in the next slides, you all may have known the app that we developed, WealthyGen app. And that is one thing we had in mind to do that. Because when people are moving around we have a planner, right, that you can use to budget, to track all of those things. Yes, planner is good. Excel is good. But for you to do Excel, you have to now go and bring out your laptop. What about those that don't have laptops? If you have Excel on your phone, what about those that don't know how to use Excel? These become some kind of challenges, double challenges, right? But when we built that app, we had it in mind to keep it simple and have an option for you to set goals within the app that you can track your progress. And then having technology makes it easier, because if you are using a book, a planner, here's the planner, by the way, if you don't know, it has budget in it, right? But you have to write it. As you're writing, you have to pull out your calculator and then calculate all of this. And that's double work. You can still keep it simple when you have a journal or something you use. But for the app, it's just a few taps. Once you tap and add, it calculates for you. And you can go back last month and see what you've done. And when you are budgeting, it makes it a lot easier, because it's going to tell you, okay, last month you are budgeting for groceries. It's going to tell you last month you spent 400. Then it makes budgeting easy and smart. You spent 400. Are you really going to spend 400 this month? You can plus or minus. You can say, you know what, I spent too much. Let me cut it down to 300. It kind of reminds you what you did last time. So technology makes these things easy for us. It keeps it simple. It makes it easy, and it makes it It helps us to, like, you can lie on the bed just like you do on your social media, and you just tap, bam, 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 2 taps, you enter things, and the cat does the rest for you. So these are strategies that I think we can use to tackle this tracking challenge. Yes, Stafik.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. Good evening, Dr. Charity. I quite appreciate your presentation, but my question is thus. To achieve financial independence, what are the 2 major things that you have to focus on? I mean, is it savings or is it investment? Because I do realize that over the years, I've been saving, but this saving, at the end of the day, I still have to fall back on it and spend it without any financial growth. So, is it to focus on savings or to focus more on investments? That's my question. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, I'm going to start by saying that those 2 are important. And I know I'm going to give you reasons why. One is investment is really good. In fact, the only way to grow your wealth is by investing, because investment will yield you more returns, okay? It's investment that will that's something I call income replenishment. It's investment that will help replenish your income and replenish that consistently, because investment will yield you returns that will continuously come. Now, savings is great because sometimes people don't have money to invest. You get money to invest through savings. Now, you can't jump savings and invest. Some people jump savings and go straight to investing. The challenge with that is some people end up depleting their investment, liquidating their investments untimely. Now, if you have investments and without having savings, emergency savings, emergency fund, and something happens, you need that money. What will you do? If there's no other way for you, you end up liquidating your investment that you're keeping aside to build wealth for you. And depending on the kind of investment you have, if it's an investment that you have, let's say if you have like fixed deposits or CDs and all that have, although they might be considered savings, but it's still investments that you are supposed to fix for a period of time. Some investments that are supposed to yield more returns the longer time you keep it. When you liquidate those investments untimely, it's actually a ding on your financial status. Now, my response to your question is this. I tell people that it's important for you to have your emergency fund. As you're saving, you know how much you earn. You know how much, that's why tracking is important. You know how much you definitely need to survive each month. If it costs you, you're in Nigeria, if it costs you, I'm just going to use a random number. If it costs you 100,000 to survive every month, pay your house rent, pay your bills, utilities, and all that, and keep you going for a month, then if you can get 300,000 in savings, leave it there as your emergency fund. That's for your 3 months. Now, if you save another 100,000, I will put that 100,000 in investment because I have my 3 months emergency fund. I like to cascade it, being that usually 3 months is not enough as an emergency fund. I would say at least 6 months. But for the last 3 months, you would keep the first 3 months, 300,000 in your regular savings account for the short term. Then the next 3 months, the next 300,000 that you will invest, you would not invest it in a long-term investment. You put it in somewhere like CD, fixed deposit. You can fix it for 3 months because you already have 3 months rolling in your regular savings account. The next 3 months, the next 300,000 you will save, you will put it in a fixed deposit or CD for 3 months, and it's going to be rolling over. What it means is that you have 3 months in your regular savings account. If anything short-term comes, you have somewhere to go. Then the other 3 months is in your fixed deposit or CD. It is accruing more interest for you, more than your savings account. You won't really have access to it until 3 months. Just assuming that the 3 months you have in your savings account, after 3 months, you are out, you run out, maybe because you lost your job, God forbid, or something happens that you need more. You have a short-term investment CD for 3 months that you can rely on, that can easily become available after 3 months. Then anything after 6 months, that's when you can put in your investment. That before you deplete your first 3 months and deplete your CDs or short-term investments in the 3 months rolling, that you can roll over automatically every 3 months, before you even get to your investment, at least you have 6 months to play around, right? So that's my strategy. I keep 6 months emergency fund, but not all of the 6 months. The last 3 months would be in a short-term investment pool, like your CD or your fixed deposit, and you make sure it's rolling over so that after 3 months you don't use it, it rolls over plus interest so that your interest can compound. Then the other investments you can continue to, after you have your 6 months emergency fund in a very liquid savings account and one in a CD that you can only touch after 3 months, the rest can go into your investments. It doesn't matter how much it is, even if it's small amounts, you continue to put it into that long-term investment so that you don't have any reason to touch or to liquidate your long-term investments. I hope I answered your question.
Yeah, thank you.
Sure. Victor.
Good evening. Good evening,
Good evening.
Doctor. Thank you so much for your insight. Well, I'd like to ask a question, maybe not directly to what you're saying, but I want to find out if you have any information about investment opportunities, either franchise or normal investment, both local and international, that one can invest some money in. And at the end of the year or every 6 months, you get some good returns from it. I'll be very glad if you can throw more information on that. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, let me tell you what, I get this question a lot for some reason, and there's no straightforward answer to that. And I'm going to tell you why. Investment, there's a lot of things to consider in investment. There are a lot of different, okay, so here's the thing. There are different risks in investment. And I might say, this is what I'm investing in now. You might go in there, it might not favor you. Simply because when I talk about investment, I like to, how do I put it? I like to discuss a lot of things before you can say, yes, this is what I'm going to do. Now, the investment opportunities depends on what level you are in and what your risk tolerance level is. I'm going to start with risk tolerance, and then I'm going to go over on investment levels. Now, first is your risk tolerance. Some people cannot tolerate risk at all. Now, keep in mind that the higher risk and higher risky investments give you the best returns. So whether an investment is highly risky or not, or whether it's good for you or not, depends on how your risk tolerance level is. Can you tolerate high risk investments or can you not? That's number one. Number two is, what do you really like? What's your investment profile? I might be that person that, I'm going to use stocks as an example, okay? Stocks can be that investment profile that people rely on. They pay dividends every quarter. Some stocks don't pay dividends. Now, if I'm going to recommend stocks as an example, before I do that, there's a whole bunch of things we have to go through before we say invest in this stock. Now, not all stocks, companies pay dividends. Now, my question will be, what kind of investor are you? Are you that person that I can understand financial markets. I can read all these charts. I can read the market and understand where things are going. I want to trade daily. I want to be able to this morning buy this stock, tomorrow and sell it and make my money, or even buy it today and sell it. What we call day trading. Are you that kind of person that has that time to do all of that? If you are that kind of person, then you probably don't really need this cash flow investing. You probably need what they call capital gains investing, right? You're a capital gains investor or a cash flow income investor. If you're a capital gains investor, you just want to buy at $5 and sell at $10, or buy at $10 and that kind of thing. That will determine the kind of investments you will look at. Then that's a different kind of strategy. Then someone might say, you know what, I don't understand all those financial jargons. I'm not ready to read all those charts. I don't have time. I work full time. I don't have time to stay in and monitor the market. I just want a safe investment that I can just buy and just go about my business. Every quarter I get my dividends. It's a different kind of investment strategy and different kinds of investment products. Right? So it boils down to, who are you? What kind of investor are you? Before someone can say, these are the options. That one aside. And then I'm going to go back and ask, what stage are you? That's a completely different analysis. Because someone, if I'm speaking to teenagers that are just in high school or they're just getting into college, those ones are in their beginning stage. What is peculiar about those in their beginning stage is that they have the time. They have, before they retire, they have a lot of time at their disposal. What it means is they can do anything. They can take risk. Those people can go on to highly risky investment. You can even recommend cryptocurrencies for them. You can recommend Forex for them. They can do that. They have time at their disposal. They can do all of that. But someone in their mid stage, you are 40, you are 45, you're between 35 and 50. You're okay, you are medium, you are still okay. Anyone in their beginner stage, they can learn, they can explore, they can do any kind of investment opportunities. What it means, if they lose money, they have time to recover. They have the time at their disposal. They can take risks. Someone in their medium stage, they are between 35, 50. There are 50 is even 45, 50. Yeah, they can. They have a little time. Not all the time, but they have a little time. They can afford to take some risk. Because if they lose money, they have a little more time to catch up until retirement. So they can take risks, but not highly risky investments. Okay. So those ones will be leaning more towards maybe stocks. They might not really go into cryptocurrencies. They might not really go into Forex. They might, because they have time. They can still catch up if they want to. Then someone in their nearly retirement, those ones are really in they're kind of putting together their assets. The one in the medium stage are kind of accumulating, right? Those ones are the ones between 50, 55, 60, 65, between 55 and 60. Those ones are just, what, I need to protect my investments. Those ones cannot take any risk. If anything happens, retirement is right. If they lose their money, that's it. They do not have time at their disposal. So those ones, you cannot recommend any risk investment for them. They cannot. You can't even, stocks is not even a go-to place for them. If they must go to stocks, it must be just very, very safe stocks. Those ones their eyes will just be in CDs, fixed deposits, treasury bills, government bonds. Those ones that are guaranteed, they are protecting their investments. There's no time for them to lose any money. They want to make sure that their principal is intact. So before I can say these are investment options for you, I have to understand all of these things. We sit down and discuss, okay, what is your investor profile? What do you like? What are you capable of? What kind of your risk tolerance? At what stage are you in? Once we get all of those in place, we can say, okay, consider this option. But generally, we know, depending on where you are, there are stocks, different kinds of stocks that you can invest in. There are different kinds of treasury bills, treasury bonds, corporate bonds. There are safe investment CDs, right? And there are people that are venturing into businesses, right? Investing in businesses. So, but whatever we can recommend for you even in Nigeria, there are investments. There are investment platforms that you can invest in businesses. There are a lot of opportunities out there that I have seen that look okay, being organized by some companies like that, fintech apps. But for we to say that this is what you should invest in, like, we are not giving investment advice, but if we like to do that as a one-on-one conversation to determine where you are in your journey and what your profile is, what you can tolerate before we can say consider this and that and that. I know I touched on a lot of things, but I don't know if I answered your question, Victor.
Thank you very much. I'll just connect with you privately. I'll get your number from Bob, so I'll connect with you if that's okay.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much.
Sure. Any other question? Okay, so I know I touched on the WealthyGen app before, because we are talking about leveraging technology. For those of you who don't know, this is an all-in-one money management mobile tool. And I put this in uppercase because it puts you in control of your finances. You can use this app. This is what the homepage dashboard looks like when you get there. This is the big homepage, and at the end you will see the dashboard. But you can use this for smart budgeting. You can use this app to budget. It's your ultimate money tracker. You can use it to track your income, your expenses, your assets. If you like, have investments all over the world, you can use it to track your assets, and it updates real time. You can use it to monitor and grow your net worth. At any point in time when you tap on this app, you know what your net worth is. Not only that, it tells you what your net worth should be. Is your net worth good? Is it bad? What should it really be? And then you can use it to commit your financial goals, because you can use this app to set goals and you monitor your progress. It shows you where you are. You know, it's an all-in-one money management tool. It's available on the app stores, iOS, Google Play, and this is what you see once you go on the App Store. This is how you know that you're on the right app. And you can use it anywhere. In fact, beginning Monday, you can use this app any part of the world. It doesn't matter what country you live in. You can just select your country and you use it in your country's currency. And it updates using your country's interest rate. Okay, so please feel free to download the app. It's on the App Store. Now, I want to thank you specifically for joining us today. It's a great thing we are doing for ourselves, and my hope is that you learned something at least today. And even if you didn't learn anything, I want us to be intentional. It pays when we are intentional about our spending, intentional about managing our finances, mindful of our spending, so that at the end of it all, we are maximizing happiness and we are maximizing our financial well-being, because that is the key. Money is meant to be spent. I told someone that money is meant to come in and go. What matters is how much of this are you able to keep for yourself? Now, as you're spending it, be intentional and be mindful so that you're spending, you are also maximizing your happiness and financial well-being. So this is a monthly event. We hold sessions every first Saturday of the month. And this is our events page. Even if you don't have the calendar, if you go to WealthyGen.org/events list, you're going to see all the events we have listed. Every month is the same login, same use meeting ID and passcode. The only thing that will change is your topic. And please connect with us so that, whenever we have new events, we post it on our social media. This is our email. You can send me directly email to this drcharity@wealthygen.org, or generally to info@wealthygen.org. And then social media, WealthyGen1, and my personal, WealthyGen1 Instagram and WealthyGen on Facebook. And you can message us. You can call, or you can text, you can WhatsApp 301-232-8384. I want to thank you specifically for making time today to learn with us. I appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you so much for downloading the app. Yes, you will love it. Tell me what you think. Tell me what you think.
That's great. It's awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. I hope to see you all next month, though. Same one. Actually, next month, we are going to be talking about goal setting. So be sure to join us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, Victor.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye, everyone. See you next month.